What's up guys, I'm Chxrge and this is my Season 29 weapons tier list for Apex Legends. First we're going to start with the Nemesis. I'm a bit biased with this gun because it's my favourite gun. The reason I use it is because it does so much damage in a short amount of time and it has an easy recoil pattern to control. Like an example is if I'm like fighting somebody with an R301 or a Hemlock and I'm using Nemesis, I'm going to outtrade them usually and do a lot more damage than they do to me. So for that reason I'm going to put it in A tier. Next we have the Volt SMG. I don't use this gun as much as I used to, like I used to use it so much, but I feel like they've nerfed it a few times, like in the past like year or two. It has good damage, good fire rate, it's quite a reliable gun. I just think you're going to get out-traded by other guns in the meta nowadays. Like I think an R99 is going to probably be the Volt. For that reason, I'll probably put it in like B tier. Next we have the Devo. I'm not gonna lie, I don't use this gun too much, but I see a lot of streamers using it all the time. Personally, I don't like the charge up. Obviously, if it has a turbocharger, it's like much better. I think the recoil's easier to control nowadays, but this gun just isn't for me. Like, I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I'm sure some people would love to put this in A tier, but I don't know, I don't vibe with it. Next we have the triple take. I've always liked this gun. It's not as powerful usually as the other snipers and marksman weapons, but if you charge it up and land a headshot with it, you can do loads of damage. I think it's quite consistent at all ranges too. Like it's pretty good at close range. You can kind of use it as a shotgun. Long range, obviously not as good as like a longbow or a charge rifle, but it can still do damage if you're accurate with it and try and hit headshots. I think it excels at the mid-range. I think that's where it's best. I'm probably going to put this in B tier. Next we have the Havoc. Now this gun gives me PTSD because the amount of cheaters who use this on console. Honest to God, like all cheaters on console run Revenant with a Havoc, and honestly I wake up at night screaming because of it. It's still a powerful gun, and with a turbocharger it's obviously like even better. I think this is better than the Devo for me, and I think it's probably one of the quickest ways to win a 1v1 if you use it correctly, so probably go with A tier. And last, with the energy weapons, we have the RE45. I use this weapon quite a lot, so I'm a little bit biased, but it doesn't seem too popular with my friends. Like everybody I play with, no one uses it, so I think it's kind of underrated and slept on. But I think if you hit your shots with this weapon in a 1v1, I think you're probably going to win that 1v1, honestly. Like its fire rate is super quick. And if you have a laser sight, like the hip fire is just like super precise. So I'm gonna, like, I could put this like B or A. Like in my opinion, I would put it A, but I can see why people would put it lower. So first up with the heavy weapons is the Hemlock. The Hemlock can now fire a breach charge which can damage enemy projectiles and even disable enemy causticals for 5 seconds. It does decent damage and has very easy recoil to control. For me, this gun is currently S tier. It's versatile, especially in competitive Apex, it's just too good. Next we have the Flatline. For me, the Flatline is quite weird, like the hip fire still feels quite inaccurate when I use it. It does a ton of damage, but it's a bit harder to aim with on controller than M&K at long ranges. And unfortunately, I'm a controller bot, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. Next is the 30-30. It recently had some nerfs which have made it less meta, but it's still pretty good. If it has a skull piercer, it can still knock people pretty quick. I'll put it in C tier for now. So the Prowler, I don't use it too much anymore. I used to use it quite a lot back in the day. I don't use the automatic mode either, so maybe someone in the comments can let me know if I'm missing out on that. Burst mode does a lot of damage, it's easy to use. I think it's a bit underrated still, so I'll probably give it a B tier. It's impossible to put this into a tier without taking into account when it's charged up with a Thermite. A charged Rampage is super powerful. We've all died to one before and just accepted it. Overall, I'll just put it in C tier. Lastly, in the heavy weapons, we have the Car SMG. This used to be quite meta back in the days, but nowadays I don't think it's very good, so I think there's a lot of better alternatives, so I'm going to put it in C tier. Next we have the Sniper class, and for whatever reason the Wingman is in it, so let's rate it. The Wingman is super powerful this season. I'm not very good with it personally, but I've been on the receiving end of some double headshots, so this gun will put you to sleep quicker than a rank queue at 3 AM in the morning. But seriously, in the right hands, this weapon is insane, so I'm going to put it in A tier. Next we have the Longbow. In competitive, the Longbow is great. It doesn't use much ammo and it dishes out a ton of damage, especially with the skull piercer hop up. In ranked, it's still good, but with this current movement meta, I don't think it's as good as it should be, so I'm going to put it in around C tier for now. Next we have the Charge Rifle. It's still too soon for me to talk about this. Like my life went completely downhill after they removed the hit scan. I'm sure a lot of people's lives improved after it was nerfed, but I don't actually care, to be honest. I'm the main character and I'm still super heartbroken about this. But like all jokes aside, it does a ton of damage, but it feels quite random whether you'll land a shot at long range. Like it kind of depends on like what the person is doing like 200 meters away. It just feels too like inconsistent. For now, I'm going to put it in D tier. Like, it breaks my heart. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Next we have the Sentinel. We all know how good the Sentinel is. Like, if you can land your shots whilst it's charged up, you're going to win so many fights. You're going to get so much entry without like taking too much damage. I'm going to put it in B tier overall. Next we have the bow check. I don't use it too often, but it's pretty powerful. Like, if you charge it up with a frag grenade, it can just destroy people instantly. It's not really my type of weapon, but it's still pretty good, so I'm going to put it in C tier. Lastly, we have the Chxrge. I feel like it doesn't need explaining, to be honest. The Chxrge is an S tier weapon, it always has been. And with the infinite ammo amp, like, it's just even better now. So yeah, definitely S tier. Next we have the P20s. Like, a single P20 is not worth talking about, so we'll just talk about the dual version. Right now, I don't think they're in a good place. It's quite RNG based. Like, sometimes it's really hard to hit people, and sometimes you just destroy them super quick. They used to be really OP, like, was it like 6 months ago? But now I would say they're pretty mid. I'm going to put it in C tier. I think it's like a weird gun. I don't like it really. Next we have the Alternator. The Alternator is a pretty consistent gun. It's easy to aim, does quite a bit of damage, and doesn't really use too much ammo. When it has the double tap upgrade, it's like much better close range, but it becomes noticeably worse at longer ranges with the double tap. Overall, I'm going to put it in B tier. So the R301 has been a classic throughout all of Apex, like known as the old reliable. It's still good, maybe not as good as it used to be, but it's still a solid assault rifle, so I think if it did more damage, I'd place it in A tier, but I think their Nemesis and Hemlock are a bit better, so I'm going to put it in B tier. So the R99 is also a classic too. I feel like this doesn't need explaining too much. Without light mag, it's terrible, but when you get some attachments, it's probably one of the best guns in the game. Kind of stuck whether to put this in A or S tier, but it's just so fun to use and it's a classic, so I'm going to put it in S. Next we have the Spitfire. I think the Spitfire for me is quite similar to the R301. Like, it's good, but it's not amazing. It's more of a placeholder gun for me, so I'm going to put it in C tier. So the first shotgun we have is the Mozambique. Just like the P20s, I think it's only fair if we judge it using the dual wielding ability. The Mozams were super busted not too long back, but they've been nerfed since then. They're still quite powerful, but in my opinion, it's just a bit unreliable compared to most SMGs and other weapons. For me, they're a C tier weapon. Next we have the Peacekeeper. Now I think the PK is still quite good, especially in comp. Gibia and Newcastle with a PK is still insane and the skill gap is very high. Whilst making this video, I actually found out there's a buff coming to the Peacekeeper. If you knock somebody with it, you will gain 50 shield regeneration over 10 seconds. Before this buff, I would have placed it in around B tier, but in the right hands, this will be A tier for me. I'm not entirely sure if this new buff stacks with the Skirmisher regeneration perk. If it does, that will be insane. Next up we have the EVA 8. For me, this is probably the worst shotgun and probably one of the worst weapons. It doesn't do enough damage in my opinion. I've won a few 1v1s with it, but I'm sure they would have been much easier with a better gun. Currently, the EVA 8 is in E tier for me. And last we have the Mastiff. Now the Mastiff is also receiving the same buff as the PK. Before this update, I'd have placed it in C tier, but now I think it's probably around B tier. I think the PK is a bit more reliable for me personally. Okay, so the last two weapons we have are both currently care package weapons. First we have the L-Star. I don't get much opportunity to use this in game, but when I have, it has been super powerful. Usually you get the unlimited ammo amp on the care package with it, so you can just endlessly shoot without much thought. Honestly, this weapon is busted in the right hands, and it definitely has to go in S tier for me. So now we're on to the last weapon, and it's the G7 Scout. Like the L-Star, this weapon is also busted in the right hands. You kind of need the unlimited ammo amp because this weapon will run through ammo, especially with the double tap perk. If you manage to get either of these weapons with unlimited ammo, then you're going to dish out tons of damage. For me, the G7 is an S tier weapon. To be honest, it makes complete sense that the care package weapons are all S tier weapons. Well, that's my Apex Legends tier list for Season 29. Remember, these are only my opinions. You may totally disagree with them and that's fine. There's no correct way to play Apex, so go crazy. For anyone who's still around, thank you for watching. This is the first YouTube video I've created in 5 years. I'm thinking of consistently uploading to YouTube again, so if you have any requests, let me know in the comment section. Peace.